Building Community with AAC. 19.1.
Somewhere along the way on your AAC journey, you will feel the nudge to invite others to join you as an AAC partner. It may be immediate family members who have been watching you learn to model and respond to your learner with AAC. It may be extended family who know it's something your child uses but stay at the edge of AAC interactions. It may be scout leaders or coaches or Sunday school teachers who have a relationship with your child but don't know much about AAC. Or perhaps your AAC learners' coworkers and friends. Demystifying AAC helps others understand the importance and capacity of their AAC devices to smooth and excite interactions. Familiarity creates acceptance and curiosity. Feeding that curiosity expands the circle of communication partners around your AAC learner. In this video, we are going to explore ways you can build community around your learner by teaching and sharing with others about AAC. First, if there are people in your child's life, whether neighborhood kids, grandparents, or the bus driver, who want to learn about AAC, you might start by showing them some messages that they can use to interact with AAC.
Let's go play.
I love you.
I love you. I love you.
Good to see you.
They don't need to know everything to have a moment of success, and you can build more opportunities from there.
They truly understand how much we need to model for her to, get to the point where she's communicating back to us. And I think that's going to come with time. We have very supportive family and, surrounding us. So I think, just kind of teaching them or reminding them to use it when just started a local daycare as well, and they are very excited about using Pod, and not just with Maya but also with their other kids, because I explained ALDs and could we maybe put them around the room, and they were like, yeah, that's such a good idea, and we could even reinforce this with our other kids, and also the kids could use it with Maya to reinforce as well.
Siblings and peers are some of the best communication partners. There's so much benefit in encouraging and cultivating these interactions.
And most of her peers, since they've all been to school together since third grade, most of her peers know that she has this device. And if she has it with her, they'll come up and they'll do things on. They know better how to use it than most of us, and so they'll hit the things and interact with her that way. Sometimes little kids will come up and say, why doesn't she talk? And then I'll say, well, her brain doesn't really connect to her mouth very well, but she talks with this. And then they're very excited about that because that looks really cool. Yeah. And so if she says something, they get excited and they want to say stuff. And
make a habit of chatting with peers and siblings about how they could interact with your AAC learner related to an activity they all enjoy. For instance, they could use AAC to talk about the fun they had on the trampoline.
Fun. It's high.
Or use it to choose a movie and explain why it's the one they should watch. Maybe phrases like, it's funny.
Funny.
Or so good.
Good.
Perhaps my favorite.
My favorite.
And so my nieces are really, I have a almost 8-year-old and a 5-year-old niece, and they love his iPad and want to know all about it and stuff. So that will be times where we get it out together and we say, all right, or they will start modeling it. Let's go to the park, or let's go get ice cream. So they are really interested in that.
When we go to lunch at school, I bring as many talkers as I can. We have Speak for Yourself on all of our family iPads, so our play iPads and our dedicated iPads. And I just try to hand out an iPad to every kid.
It's a great way to build community.
Yeah, they love it, right? And they can explore and get to play on it. And they're really, now that they're in 5th grade, they're really interested in trying to put together grammatically correct sentences, ask questions, or talk about things. It's really fun to get to see. And that's one of the ways that we really sort of love it, because what we've always seen is there's a direct correlation with how much people around Nico are using the device to how much Nico's using the device. So the more we use it, the more he uses it.
This can also extend to others in your home or your immediate social circle. Make it a thing, game night where everyone uses AAC. Or pass AAC around the Saturday morning breakfast table so everyone can share what they will do or what they're looking forward to for the weekend.
In video 16.1, we explored ways to have AAC always available. One strategy that was shared was having paper-based AAC available throughout your home. Beyond being convenient for you and your AAC learner, it's innately easier for those in your household to model AAC in the moment as well when it's right there. Similarly, having something like a paper-based core board available on a lanyard can be useful. Giving them to care providers to wear while in your home also sends a very clear message that we speak AAC here.
One of the things that Nico does is, particularly around caregivers and his communication device, is if we say that there's a sort of caregiver transition, or not even if we say that, but if he decides that there needs to be a caregiver transition, he will take the talker off of the grown-up who's wearing it and hand it to the grown-up who is going to be the caregiver because we say they are or because he says they are. And that's a really clear way. He's like, okay, we're making this transition. This is a way for me to know that this person is with me now. And it's, I think, another thing that I really appreciate about Nico sort of doing that is he's also, it's always been important for him to know who his person is at any given time. And so that physical, like, talker handoff helps him see that that is a transition that's happening. So he knows who his new person is, right? And it really helps him stay regulated, stay able to function in whatever it is we're trying to do.
Another strategy is to share with others specific things that you are working on to support your AAC learner and inviting them to do the same. Setting mini goals for ourselves keeps us focused and helps us develop habits of use. Here are some examples. Ensure AAC goes with your learner at all times. Make a comment with AAC each time you watch a video together. Model telling about your emotions twice daily. Count to 10 before modeling more to provide sufficient wait time. Model for 2 turns while packing lunch or before bed or any other daily routine that makes sense for you. Tell about where you are going each time you visit someone or run an errand. Share a photo from your day and tell about it with AAC. These are just a few examples. Think about what makes sense for you and your household. A highly effective way to develop your communication partner skills as well as teach others about some of the more nuanced components of using AAC is to invite someone to observe you and take data in a very simple and structured way. You don't have to do this perfectly, and there's not really a matter of getting it right or wrong, but it gives you an opportunity to practice with feedback and opens up discussions about important elements of AAC implementation. For instance, share about pause time and invite another to time you to see how much time you give. Do this for several turns and talk about how your AAC learner responds and why this time is needed. You could also ask someone to tally the questions and statements you speak with AAC, differentiating between open-ended questions versus closed questions that have a specific answer. Discuss the balance of the interaction and how it is shaped differently by questions, types of questions, and statements. Ask someone to write down all the words you use for 5 minutes when modeling AAC. Talk about how many are core and how many are other words. Did you use variety, or repetition, or a combination, and how did your learner respond? Maybe you could invite another to count how many times you attribute meaning to nonverbal communication during an activity. Discuss missed opportunities as well as how this strategy helps move the interaction forward. If you are able to capture videos of your AAC learner using AAC with you or others, share those clips. Share them with school and service providers. Share them with extended family and neighbors. Seeing what it looks like to use AAC can help others understand the power of the tool and the potential of your learner.
So many others aren't open to it, aren't understanding of it. So in our community, right. So if he takes his iPad to the local Dairy Queen to order, they know he's nonverbal. They don't look at him. David, do you want to order? They look at the person with him. And so then, well, and it gets done quicker that way. And so rather than giving him the time. And so it's about training the community around him also.
At times, you may need to advocate for your AAC learner by guiding others to direct their questions toward your AAC learner rather than you. Even if your AAC learner needs support to respond, shifting the dynamic of interactions in this way puts your AAC learner in the conversation in a meaningful way. For instance, when a doctor is asking, "What hurts?" shift that so the question is asked to your learner. If a worker at an ice cream shop asks, "What flavor do you want?" guide them to look at your learner when they say it. If a librarian asks, "What kind of book are you looking for?" you can direct their attention as well. As you model navigating to possible choices and even interpreting nonverbal communication as your AAC learner makes a choice, you show others what it looks like to honor your child's autonomous communication.
We get a variety of responses about Nico's AAC out in the world. And a lot of that stems from he's got an iPad on his chest, right? And so some kids see an iPad and they're like, "Oh man, that's cool. He can game all the time." And then grown-ups look at us like, "Oh, you," like with judgy eyes about why are you having your kid have access to a screen all the time so much that he gets to wear it. And sometimes we get those kind of comments or just looks. And when that happens, usually my response is just to model something on the talker, to engage with Nico about whatever's going on around. And I'm trying to think about, how is Nico hearing that and interpreting that sort of judgment or stare? Is he even noticing the stare? I don't know, but I sure do. So I think he does. And so let's just use it the way we use our talker and leave people to be.
We can understand him within our home, but he's not always going to be in our home. And so we need him to be able to communicate to others in the next places he goes, in all places that he goes.
Building community around your AAC learner may evolve out of spontaneous interactions that you act upon in the moment, or it may require more deliberate and purposeful planning. Likely both.
There have been a couple times, which I find the most connecting, when somebody sees his iPad or mine and immediately knows it's a communication device. And like, that's a really cool moment, because that means that either they're, a teacher or an SLP, or they have a kid with a disability themselves. And we've had a couple of conversations with people whose kids have disabilities, who are just starting. They're like, "Oh, we're just trying to figure out a communication device. How's it been for you?" And I think those conversations are really fun and really help me remember that we're trying to help spread the word that this is here and for all the kids who need alternative ways to communicate.
Being aware of moments and opportunities to invite others to be a part of Team AAC and having ready ideas about how to facilitate it is helpful to expand the circle around your AAC learner.